or fall under, like say, the management. The management team might have to have secretaries to to keep track of this information, secretary militia, so I don't know. Like I say, these are all things that are going to have to be worked out, and they need to be thought about right now. And when the time comes, then you'll have some idea of what it is you're going to do. If you think you're going to allow all these people just to swarm into your area, it's not going to work. Because these people are going to have hygiene problems, they're going to have health problems, they're going to have shelter, sleeping, food. There's going to be so many things that are going to have to be dealt with. And it's going to be overwhelming if any one person or any one group tries to handle it all. This is why we have all the different three-man militias. Okay, so we have the bridge, and I'm just using the bridge for an example. But all the ways to stop anybody coming in. We don't want them crossing the dirt over there and this kind of stuff. No, we have to have some way or another to manage our area. And if you can't put a fence up and all this kind of stuff, then you need to put signs up and letting them know, with arrows, this is the way you go. If you're coming this direction, go that way. Don't cross here. We will shoot anybody coming through this area. This is a no man's zone. So you come in here, you are a threat. You're considered a threat. So, yeah, hey, this doesn't sound legal, does it? That's because it's not. It is what happens after shit hits the fan. After shit hits the fan, people get goofy. And I want the goofy people to be goofy outside our area. In our area, we will have some type of organization, some sense of security, some kind of a life. Because once we're inside here, yes, many might be refugees, but we want to make the life in here something that is livable. We can't help everyone. We can't allow everyone to come in our community. So everyone that comes into this community has to have a sponsor, has to have somebody that's going to back up what that these are good people. And now how are you going to do all this stuff in the way of, well, I know how I would do it. If we have bad people, depending on how bad, they'll be asked to leave. Well, first I would go to the person that sponsored them or allowed them to come in, and I would let them know what kind of problem we're having with this person. They've got a bad attitude. We try to find different things for them to do, but they just can't seem to do anything, and that's because of the attitude. You might want to talk to them, see if we can get that attitude changed. Okay, because I don't really want to deal with these people. You ask them in, you deal with them, and then if it turns out it doesn't work, then it's your responsibility to ask them to leave. You ask them to come, you ask them to leave. I don't want to get involved in that shit. I've got responsibilities already. And when I say I'm talking about everybody else in the community. Nobody wants to get involved in the shit that you drug in there. So you deal with it. Okay, now if you need help to deal with it, we will give you the help. Like I say, we have a security team and a militia security team that'll be more than happy to come over here and help escort these people outside of our area. No problem at all. And you will be going with them, because remember, you're the one that's doing this. We are just helping you get things done. And that's going to be the basics on everything that happens in our area. We are working together. I'll tell you, it was nice before the shit hit the fan, that you were an independent, you could do anything you want. That's nice. But you lost that once the shit hit the fan and in this area. Well, you say, well, I was in this area before all this. It doesn't make any difference. To make this work, we all have to work together. So I really don't give a shit. And so we're going to have problems to dealing with that kind of attitude again. Because like I say, this is not a permanent thing. This is just a temporary thing. So the temporary could be just a month or two. It could be a year or two. You know, I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. That's why we have to prepare for the long run. And the way to do it, we can't do it by ourselves for the long run. We're going to need each other. This is what this whole thing is all set up for. Okay. So now we've got our bridge under secure. We got our borders under control. So we don't have outsiders coming in. You know, we're able to at least monitor who's coming in and leaving in our area. We can at least deal with that. Okay, that's the starting of the shit hits the fan. That's the first part. Now, the next thing is going to be the housing of these people. And like I say, you've invited people to come in. That means you've already got things set up. In other words, I'm not worried about having enough blankets. I'm not worried about having enough food. I'm not worried about any of the people that you invited. Because if you've invited them, that means you've got the means to care for them in the way of, like say, the shelter, the food, and all this kind of stuff. Okay. Now this is going to be a toughie here. This is going to be a real toughie. And the thing is, if it's a shit hits the fan situation, we're probably going to be limited on utilities. And so that's going to be a tough one. Okay. So when you're limited on utilities, you're not going to have your refrigerator running. You're not going to have your freezer going. You're not going to be able, if you have an electric stove, you're not going to be able to use your electric. And if you have propane to run your stove and to run all this kind of stuff, you're going to be, I'll put it this way, there's an efficient way of running your propane, because what you're dealing with, trying to feed, let's say there's, after your family and the people you invited, let's say you've got 10 in your house now, and you try to cook for 10, you're going to be wasting a lot of propane. So that's why you need, we will have to use the community center, or in our case, the bus, and we can fix the food that we need to at these places. That's what they're going to be running, like a 24-hour kitchen. They're going to be running, cooking food, preparing food for everybody in the community. That's everybody in the community. And that's because we don't want everybody, we're going to have, okay, there's 10 of you in the house. There's going to be, 3 of you using your labor to cook for the rest of them. So you're wasting labor, you're wasting fuel. You know, I don't know what you're going to do with no electric. You're going to be wasting food too, because your leftovers are going to be wasted. There's no way to refrigerate them and take care of them. Your freezers won't be working, so you're going to have all this food going bad quick, in which if we had it centralized, we could take care of it basically a lot easier and with a lot less effort. So in other words, the food will have to be pooled. In other words, we'll pull all of our food together. That will fall under the logistics militia. We'll have some people that they know where everything is. Whether we need food, they'll know where the food is. They will know the the structures that we have available to lock up our food, keep our food safe and clean. They'll get all the freezers needed to keep the frozen stuff and refrigerators. They will put all this stuff in one central location, so then this way the electric militia will be able to make sure that we have electric running, keeping all this stuff going, and making sure we have propane for cooking, and you know, water, everything we need to feed everybody. Now, see, this is something that's going to be needed to be done immediately. Remember, we're talking, we took the bridge. We're controlling our outside area, so we just don't have people just wandering in and out. Okay, but we also need to feed people. And so that's why the food part needs to be done. We have like I say, the housing militia. That's the ones that will be keeping track of the people coming in, who's responsible for them, and so where they're going to be staying. So we know they'll have a map or whatever they're going to do, and they'll know this is so-and-so's house, you know, Mr. Jones' house, and he invited, you know, 15, you got 15 people total living over there, and these are the names of the people that are living in that area, the names and ages. And this way, the housing people will, the housing militia will know who lives where and what kind of services that they need to keep going. Now, you might invite somebody and they have some kind of health issues. Well, you invited them, and that's okay. We're going to do our best to take care of them. You can't take care of them, but we will have a clinic or first aid. Like I said, we do not have a hospital, and we don't have, we've got a lot of the stuff, but we really don't have a hospital. But we do have the facilities to make a good clinic, good first aid and this. And so if this other person does have some health issues, we will have a bed there that they can stay in there until they gain their strength. Maybe the excitement of the shit hitting the fan. Maybe on their way out to our area, they had an accident, they got hurt, maybe they got shot. I mean, anything could have happened. And so we will put them into our area, our clinic area, and take care of them, you know, because it's just going to be temporary. It's not we're going to put them on life support forever. We can't do that. But anyway, you can't do it, even though you're the host. You didn't, and you know, it could have been me, and here I caught a few bullets on my way going in there. You know what I mean? Well, eventually I'm going to heal up or I'm going to die, one or the other. So if you can get me healed, I'll heal up, and then I'll be ready to take on my chores. If I die, well then, hey, you don't have to feed me no more. But this is why we're going to have the housing people at the bridge there working with them. To make sure everybody gets to wherever they need to get, and then the different militias will come to the housing people, I'm just saying that, and say, well, hey, we've got we need to cut firewood, so we're going to need some people helping in firewood. And so then they'll say, okay, we're going to, we need to do some firewood cutting. So then what they'll do is they'll take some of the militia people, some of the security people with them, so they can go outside our area and cut some wood and, you know, get ready, because we're not going to be, the people that are cooking the food, they're the militia, the cooking militia. They have enough sense to know we have a limited amount of propane and electricity. We can't just flaunt it. We just can't just use it up like that. So we're going to need some wood, and we're going to have to figure out some kind of wood burning things where we can do our cooking on something like that. So it'll be outside cooking. So that's no problem, because their job is to cook the food. And the logistics people will make sure that they have the food. And might be, like I say, the security people will have to find some people to help them go out and get the wood. So you understand what I'm saying? They're all working together. And this is all what's happening within the first 24 hours. So you can imagine the excitement, the craziness that's going on right now. And for me, I can think about it right now. I'm thinking about my community, and I'm just thinking about these people. But we are located on a highway. It's not a major highway, but it is a highway. And the smart people will probably not take major highways. And we're not looking to stop the traffic, but the highway does come through our community. So we will just have to make sure that people keep on driving through our community, right on out. And this is what the security people are going to have all this all planned out, how they're going to do it. Like, in other words, they're going to have a pass. We'll make out some kind of a pass for them. We'll put the time on there, and you know, they have to, like a bright yellow little thing will go underneath their windshield wiper, and then they can drive through their town. But when we see this yellow sticker on there, we know this car is just going right through our town. They will not stop anywhere in our town, because these people might have some kind of weird disease or some kind of crap. Well, we don't know shit. So that's the security people on the bridge. The meet and greet people. Their job is to determine, are these people just in transit, just driving right through our community, or are they a threat to our community? Now, being a threat to our community could be violent people that are a threat, or a threat could be somebody that's contaminated. I know in the United States they're talking this Ebola stuff or whatever, you know. It could be anything. These people could have anything. It's the meet and greet's job is to determine, are these people a threat? And that's what their job will be doing. We talked about the three-man militia. And the three-man militia in the meet and greet, because they've got to make all these determinations. And then these people come in and they meet and greet them, and then they say, well, yeah, you know, Joe told me to move on out of here when the shit hits the fan. Well, it doesn't work quite like that. Now you get a hold of the housing guy, and then the housing guy will look on his list and say, well, Joe, okay, yeah, Joe invited some people, and what's your name? And then he'll tell them the name, and then you go over in this area over here, kind of like it's outside our area, maybe with some shade trees, and you can go over there and you wait, and Joe will come over here, and then he'll verify who you are and all this kind of stuff, and we'll see what happens. Because now Joe might have invited you and your wife, and then now you've invited all these other people. Not going to quite work like that. Now, if we're going to have any problems, we're going to have all these problems right here on the outside part of the bridge. And that's what I'm saying. That's the meet and greet and security teams. They need to deal with these problems, not in our area, but outside our area. And within the first 24 or 48 hours, there's going to be a lot of problems they're going to have to deal with. That's why we're stopping everybody like that.